Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala Nabi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. How I cringe every week. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us. I was going to, you're always figuring what to say, what could be a benefit. And I probably mentioned it many times that my work has been in the prison, and I've worked with people on death row and people who will never come out of jail. And the prison was a maximum security prison. And so I would always get asked this question, even by some of the chaplains that were in other prisons. They would say, what do you tell them? What is it you tell a man that will never get out again? And I found that it's really no different from what I would tell you. No difference. Because the only reason a lot of people are able to function in this outer world is that they're really focused on dunya. The next dunya thing they're going to try to acquire or get, or person, or whatever the case may be. And even though they have all of this at their disposal, you find that there's tremendous depression all throughout the land. I think they said there's 21 million people per year that have had a depression episode. And I think it's probably less in the prison, because they've confined themselves to the fact that this is where I am. But more importantly, it's to focus them and to focus us on the hereafter. It's the only thing that makes sense. And it's the only thing that can make whatever we're dealing with in our personal lives make sense. If it's not that we're focused on the fact that we have to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will get lost in all of these little trials and tribulations that we're facing. The disappointments, the things that don't work out for us. And so a man doing life in prison, he's not looking for parole. There's no parole. The only thing that would change is maybe illness, that he gets to go maybe to the hospital or something, but basically there's nothing in the dunya to really focus on. Some people can focus on the fact that I'm going back to court and I'm hoping to get some kind of reduction or something like that. But when there's no parole and there's no chance of getting out, one has to focus on what? The same thing that we should focus on every day, and that is we are returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how do I want this day to account for where I'm going? And so I found that it's sad to say, I think I might have told this story, but I was looking at a man, he was in a cell, and the cell has what they call a sally port, a little door that they put the food in. And so they wouldn't open the door because he was confined. So I'm looking through there. He was someone that had multiple brain surgeries. And they finally told him that he was going to die. He was from Lebanon. And I'm looking through the cell. There's nothing in there. Just him, a concrete slab, and a mattress on top of it. And I said to him, and it sounds strange, how are things? And I mean, how are you making out? And he said, Imam, he said, they told me they're not going to give me a compassionate release. And, I said, oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. He said, but Imam, I'm happy. He said, I'm fine. I don't have any problem with what I've been denied or anything like that. And I'm looking at this man that has nothing in the room, and he's saying he's content with what Allah has given him. Now, here's what's crazy. I leave the institution, and somebody's explaining to me the difficulties they have in their life right now. I said, SubhanAllah. Here's a man with nothing. He's in confinement. He's told that he's going to die. In jail, he's not going to be allowed to go home. And he's saying, I'm content. And here I'm talking to somebody who has some kind of difficulty that they think is difficulty and complaining about their life. And I'm saying the difference is the focus. He's focused on where he's going, and this person is focused on where they are. And so if we are going to make this kind of progress, it is by focusing on where we're going. And this is the example that we should derive from these gatherings and being in the presence of people that are directed towards the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala direct us in that way, and so that we can overcome whatever is in this life, and that He bless us to really reap the benefits of both in this life and the next. Allahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.